everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with your Hollywoke hot take. Hollywood celebrities demand Trump conviction during Senate impeachment trial from Breitbart. Breitbart, I gotta take issue with you putting Jon Stewart in this group of celebrities. I don't think he's got TDS nearly as bad as some of these other people. Maybe I'm prejudiced. I like Jon Stewart, but all he wrote was, "I can't believe they assigned Trump such an SE public defender." And that's just making a joke at his lawyer's expense. I don't really see it as Alyssa Milano, who writes, "What the F is this Bruce guy talking about? He's making 0 sense and he's really bad at this." And the rest are, pretty similar. Barbara Streisand, Rob Reiner, Bette Midler, Joy Behar, Deborah Messing, George Takei, Colin Hanks, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Rosie O'Donnell, John Cryer. I mean, all the usual suspects being completely overdramatic in my view. But I don't think Stewart was being overdramatic. I think he was just making a joke. But so what? I mean, that these guys are saying this, they're just adding fuel to the fire when this blows up in the Democrats' faces. You should not do that. Trump is going to be acquitted. And if he's not, the Democrats will literally have to destroy the Constitution to do it. Here's big news. The boss, Bruce Springsteen, arrested for DWI in New Jersey. Ooh. Oh no, boss. Oh no. After you had such a unity moment with your Jeep commercial. Now they've pulled the Jeep commercial and he's in trouble. Yeah, that does not look good at all for Jeep. I mean, they're advertising cars, dude. You can't drive around allegedly drunk. He was arrested. 71. I mean, dude, that's a little old to be driving around tipsy. At 71 with your money, why are you driving? Why are you even driving? I would have somebody drive me around at that age with that kind of money. I mean, wow, you're 71? Hey, you look good for 71, Bruce. I'll give you that. You look good. I mean, for 71, does he look 71 to you? I don't think so. You don't look 71. But he was busted on federal land. Ooh. He'll have to appear before a federal judge in Newark. Ouch. Ouch. That's no good. The allegedly juiced Bruce had a court date in the coming weeks and has no known prior bust for DWI. So this was just a random thing, I guess. But he was charged with DWI, reckless driving, and consuming alcohol in a closed area. I guess in his car. That's what he was doing it for. Yeah, he comes from that time. Back in the 70s, people would drive with like a beer in their lap. Not me. I mean, I don't drink. But yeah, I had older cousins who did that. I had an older cousin who got popped for DUI, and he literally fell out of the car with beer cans. I mean, it was bad. Replacement name for racist, in quotes, Aunt Jemima syrup gets hostile reception from public. Well, of course. It's dumb. It's been rebranded as Pearl Milling Company. Could you at least come up with a better name? Like, Aunt Jemima was like homey and sounded like your aunt. Your aunt was cooking breakfast for you or something. The Pearl Milling Company, was that her real name? She was, I guess it was. I guess it was. She was iconic. She made a lot of money at the time. But, the woke, they can't even leave syrup alone. From the Post-Millennial. New York Times producer forced to resign after smear campaign. Boo-hoo. Hard to have any sympathy, but cancel culture is bad. Reporter and producer Andy Mills has resigned from the New York Times following a coordinated smear campaign. In a blog post on Friday, Mills made the announcement that he will be leaving the outlet due to a number of sexual misconduct allegations against him. These allegations are old and long resolved, but have nonetheless been seemingly brought back under the spotlight. Well, that's a shame. But listen to what he writes. He's still trying to be woke. These are not words I wanted to write, said Mills. In his blog post, he explains that the springboard for his current cancellation is a reporting error in an episode of Caliphate, the hit podcast series. The error was problematic as it raised questions for the validity of specific terrorist acts, but was not entirely Mills' fault. Nonetheless, this unfortunate incident led to a larger smear campaign. But in the meantime, another story emerged online. This is his quote, that my lack of punishment came down to entitlement and male privilege. That accusation gave some of the opportunity to resurface my past personal conduct, said Mills. Producer then explains a past he's not proud of. In his younger years, as a producer for another outlet, he was known as a flirt. Quote, 8 years ago during a team meeting, I gave a colleague a back rub. 7 years ago, I poured a drink on a coworker's head at a drunken bar party. I look back on those actions with extraordinary regret and embarrassment. Look, I don't know. Maybe the back rub is a little out of line depending on the context, but pouring a drink on a coworker's head at a drunken party, I mean, come on. Oh, he's a monster. I mean, look, certainly he should have been pulled aside and said, this is unprofessional, dude. You can't act this way in a professional setting, especially the back rub. But, and even at the party, you could be like, dude, don't do that stuff again. But, he was working at a radio station and he never had another incident. But no, Twitter is unforgiving. But you keep at it, Twitter mob, because one day the Twitter mob will come for you. They'll come for you. So, whatever. I mean, it's the same old story. It's the same old story. People are human. There are people who do seriously effed up things. And they should be called out and kicked out for them. But this, did it cross a line? Probably, yeah. But does he deserve to have his life ruined years after it's been over and resolved? No. This is the woke. And they eat their own. There's a guy in the New York Times. He's supposed to be safe. But you're not safe. Because first they will go for the white cis males. Then they will find privilege in other groups of people. And soon they'll be down to arguing over who has the darkest color of skin. Because that's what the woke racists do. So the woke are unforgiving. And until they're excised from society, until this ideology is fought tooth and nail. See, he shouldn't have resigned. He should make them fire him. Apologies don't work anymore. Used to be you could apologize and maybe people would forgive you and you could move on depending on the incident. No, he should not have apologized. Don't apologize. Don't ever apologize. It's not worth it. It's not worth it anymore. You get nothing from an apology now. The only thing you get is, ha-ha! You admitted it. Weakness. And then they dig the knife in further. I would have just said, no, I'm not leaving. Anderson Cooper compares Trump supporters to perpetrators of Rwandan and Bosnian genocide. Well, that seems appropriate. The fall of Anderson Cooper, in my view, is just, at one point he seemed like a guy who really wanted to do journalism. Now he's, and then for a long while I thought, well, the guy's just trapped at CNN. He's got a good gig. He didn't want to give it up, but you can only do so much in a regime like that. This is ridiculous. People have been now comparing Trump supporters to murderers. You're a murderer if you're a Trump supporter, according to these people. It's ridiculous. Genocidal. You're genocidal if you're a Trump supporter. Ridiculous. Absolutely these people are insane. They are insane. For him to do that is totally out of line. He should be fired from CNN. If you watch CNN or support it in any way, you really should reconsider. Cut CNN out of your life if you haven't. And definitely boycott their sponsors. I would. Somebody told me one of the sponsors for was it MSNBC is Office Depot? I didn't even think Office Depot was still around. Go figure. And finally, some good news. Andy Ngo's book, Exposing Antifa, makes New York Times bestseller list. It hit at number 3, I think. Number 5. No, wait. Number 5 on the hardcover nonfiction list, and number 3 for the combined ebook and hardcover nonfiction list. So good for you, Andy. I went to see him when he did the when Tim Pool did his live action event in New Jersey. They had to move it over to Philly thanks to Antifa, and he spoke. Daryl Davis spoke. Tim spoke. A few other people. It was a really good time, and it was cool to meet those guys in person. I got to meet. And Sargon was there. Got to meet him briefly. But yeah, it's great that his book's doing well, and it should do well. And hopefully, some of these elites, since, they're so important. I mean, the fact that Andy made the New York Times bestseller list at all is a testament to show you how popular he is now, and this book is. They can't ignore it. Unfortunately, I think part of the reason is the timing, right? I think if Trump had gotten reelected, we'd have 4 more years of the last 4 years in terms of Antifa and the media. But now that bond has been severed, or is beginning to sever. It's not totally severed yet, but it's basically gone. It's being redefined. And mostly they're just being ignored. So now it's kind of safe for Andy's book to be on the New York Times bestseller, and they can make some money or whatever. I'm assuming even though they apparently his publisher got fired or his editor got fired, not cool. But the New York Times bestseller list, it's not straight up sales anymore. It's a complicated thing where only certain books can be listed and counted. It's sort of like the Oscars in a way, in my opinion. It's about which books deserve it. Not you got to sell a certain amount of books. I'm not saying you're not selling 0 books, but it's become something other than what it was. I mean, before it was just like, here are the top selling books, and now that's not the case. It's a New York Times bestseller. It's a branded list of books that the New York Times wants you to read. So the fact that the New York Times now wants you to read Andy's book is very telling of what's going to happen to you, Antifa. Telling you, you're on your way out. You're going to be the scapegoat for all the bad things, especially when you keep protesting. And I hope you keep protesting peacefully, actually peacefully. But they've unleashed a monster that cannot be quelled. So I hope you radicals have learned an important lesson about not voting for Joe Biden. You're not going to topple him. And if anything, he is more angry and ruthless than Trump would ever be to you. Trump, apparently didn't want to, didn't want to break the rules to get at you. So you were protected under Trump. Now that protection is all going away. I told you. But congrats to Andy. I hope the book continues to sell, and I hope people actually read it and absorb it and go, oh my God, what have we unleashed?